This is Janet Granger with another episode of the Wildlife Wins podcast. I am so excited today to have Dana Goin here. Dana is the program coordinator and wildlife educator for the Wolf Conservation Center. And wolves are a keystone species. They are so important to our environment. There's a ripple effect. So, Dana, welcome.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you'll tell us a little bit more about like what the Wolf Conservation Center is, what you do, and how you help.
Amazing. Yeah, I'd be happy to. The Wolf Conservation Center is a nonprofit environmental organization. We're located in South Salem, New York, so a little over an hour north of New York City, kind of tucked away in this little green space, but relatively easy to visit, by train or just by driving up there. But yeah, we have wolves on site. We are part of a federal recovery program. So we do have multiple endangered species of wolves that we care for. Some of them do get a chance to get released into the wild. Our mission is to advance the survival of wolves. And we do this by inspiring a global community. We do it through education, advocacy, research, and recovery. Those are kind of our, four prongs of our approach. But right now, as of this recording, we have 33 wolves that live on site. We have three ambassador gray wolves. So those are three wolves that are, socialized to people when we have visitors on site. We're no contact, but you do get to see those wolves up close. They're pretty curious. They're pretty charismatic. They do get snacks during programs and stuff like that. So it's very fun. And then the rest of our wolves, the majority of our wolves are endangered species that had the chance to be released into the wild. So we have critically endangered red wolves and we have endangered Mexican gray wolves as well.
Yeah, I saw the video on your website, which is amazing in terms of what you all have done and are doing. And I love that basically you're helping to bring these species back from the brink of extinction and then release them into the wild. And how big a deal is that? So I would love it. What people really want to hear is a success story or a recent success story. I know you have many. Is there something sort of top of mind that you want to share in terms of the success that you all are having?
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of a constant, we're constantly chugging along. We have lots of different things that we're always working on. Um, a recent success story. I actually have two that are kind of top of mind. One was that in April, actually during Earth Week, our director of education and advocacy went down to Washington, D.C., and she met with a few congressional offices. And basically, there was this big bill that was potentially going to threaten the Endangered Species Act. And just by advocating, being a voice, telling people about wolves and saying, hey, how are you thinking about voting? Let's talk about it. What questions do you have? It kind of caused enough of a stir and caused enough congressional leaders to rethink that bill was, pulled from the floor. So the vote was hopefully, maybe it'll be in our favor eventually, but at least at that moment, the Endangered Species Act was protected, which was an enormous success. So that's just one example of the many ways that we will try to advocate. Of course, we're, posting on all of our social channels. We're trying to remind people that they can each and should hopefully be a voice for wolves, but we're trying to walk the walk as well. Literally going to DC, contacting legislators, writing up language so people can use their voices in signing petitions, in commenting during public comment periods, things like that. And then the other success that is kind of top of mind is a pretty adorable one. Some of our endangered wolves do get a chance to reproduce in captivity. Excuse me, aside from our three ambassador gray wolves, really our goal for those endangered wolves, the red wolves and Mexican gray wolves that we have, is that they will get to live in the wild. Now, that is much easier said than done. But as part of that kind of hope and dream that we have for them, we try to keep these wolves that we have on site as wild as possible. So, we're not feeding them snacks during visits. Most of them reside off exhibit, so away from people. We really limit activity and everything like that, because particularly during pup season, when some of these endangered wolves get a chance to reproduce, we want them to be raising those pups in as wild kind of circumstance as possible. And so one of our breeding pairs, a pair of red wolves, mom is named Martha and dad is named Oka. On April 29th this year, they gave birth to, or Martha gave birth to a little pup, just one, a boy. And he is really adorable. He's not yet named, but he will be soon. And one really fun thing, kind of a shameless plug here, is you can go on our website and you can watch our webcams. So all of our enclosures have
Oh, I
cameras in
love the
them.
shameless plug to go
Yeah,
see a pup. I mean,
you got to do it. Plus, this is one where I'm just kind of like, oh, anyone wants to, like, who doesn't want to watch
who wouldn't want
wolves?
to go see a wolf pup?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he is, usually pups are kind of in their dens until about 5 weeks or so, because when they're born, they're very vulnerable. They're blind and deaf. They can't thermoregulate. They can't even really walk. They can't go to the bathroom on their own. No teeth. Like they are just these teeny tiny little neonates that have a lot of development to do. So they stay tucked away typically for about 5 weeks. This little guy, around probably 3.5, 4 weeks, he started to venture outside of the den. In that enclosure is mom and dad, and then his three older siblings that were born last year. And he, as kind of the only child in this litter, he's pretty chunky. He's a big, strong boy. And so he has been out exploring. He's been visible on camera. He's been climbing up to the top of his den. Every once in a while, he takes a misstep and he'll tumble down, but everyone's there looking out for him. And he is just so fun to watch. And especially, in a time where sometimes news just does not feel that great, seeing this little, critically endangered wolf pup. I mean, red wolves are the most endangered species of wolf in the world. He is such a representation of hope and recovery and, what we could potentially do for endangered species like this. And who knows, maybe he'll get a chance to live in the wild at some point. So he's really fun to watch. It's very exciting to see the parents dote on him, the older siblings check on him. It's so sweet. So again, that's my shameless plug, but I highly recommend checking out our website, clicking around, but just pulling up those webcams. Maybe you have a tab open when you're at work. You can kind of check in, get a little boost, but it's so fun.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So you bring me to my next point. Thank you for those. That's great news, those two things.
Yeah.
Um, and I do want to just take a step back and say everyone has a voice. And I think on social media, I saw a lot of people talking about the fear about the Endangered Species Act. So just want to plug that. Thank you for all the work that you're doing in terms of advocacy, and that everyone has a vote and everyone can reach out to their representatives and say, hey, this is an important thing
Exactly.
for us
Mhm.
as humans, as Americans. So yeah. So in addition to wanting to have the webcam on at all times, how else can people learn about your Wolf Conservation Center?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, our website is nywolf.org, so NY as in New York. Um, there's lots of resources on there. So of course there's the webcams. You can see, lots of FAQs about wolves. You can read the profiles of all of our resident wolves. You can read about wolves that we've released into the wild. Up to this point, we've released 18 wolves into the wild, which is pretty
Fabulous.
exciting.
Very
Um,
exciting. Yeah.
and we're on pretty much every social media platform. So, definitely
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram. You can stream our webcams on Twitch. We're on Blue Sky, we're on TikTok, so we're all over the place.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are very active on social media. Um, and I mean, wolves are so wonderful in that a lot of people are just so inspired by them. I mean, they're gorgeous. I think that's kind of an objective fact, but maybe it's not. But they're just such a charismatic species. And, because of our level of access to these captive wolves, there's just so many really beautiful videos. We get to see all these really neat behaviors between, siblings and pack mates. So it's really exciting. Right now, the Wolf Conservation Center is closed for an upcoming construction project. So we aren't currently hosting on-site visitors, but, keep your ear to the ground when we reopen in probably the next year or so. We will have a brand new education facility. We'll have beautiful paths. We'll have, little camping cabins where people can spend the night and hear the wolves howling all night. Um,
Oh, wow.
but
What a great
oh,
experience.
we're so excited. Yeah, and we do that anyway with tents and things like that. And it's just, I mean, it's magic. I mean, I've been with the Wolf Center kind of officially on staff for 7.5 years at this point, and it just never gets old. Like hearing the wolves howling, we encourage visitors to howl with them. There is just something so wonderful about it. It's really incredible. Um, but another thing we do is a lot of virtual programs. So, if you're a teacher or even your kid's school, you want to say, hey, the Wolf Conservation Center does virtual field trips. They do webinars, things like that. You can reach out to us, and we can get something set up. We do programs, virtual programs with libraries as well, scout groups. There's so many different options. Um, and then if you're close enough to the Wolf Center, we can potentially even come to you. So we can send an educator and, bring artifacts, and you can learn about wolves and conservation efforts that way. So there's lots of different ways that we try to reach people, try to kind of not literally, but in a way, bring wolves to people. I know of a lot of teachers who incorporate wolves into their classrooms. They'll pull up webcams during snack time, stuff like that. So it's a really neat way. We're always trying to have people thinking about wolves, even if they're not in a state where there are currently wolves, or they're they're just not something that they necessarily would think about on a daily basis. We still want wolves to kind of be a part of people's daily lives. So there's lots of different ways that we can do that. We have activities that people can do at home. Lots of really fun stuff. I'm a little biased, of course, but
It's no, this is fabulous and it's wonderful. And what you all are doing for conservation, and again, as as I saw on your website and you guys pointed out, wolves are a keystone species and they're
Mhm.
so critical for the environment, for the foliage, for the other animals. I mean, they make a huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
So thank you for all that you do. And thank you for being with me here today on the Wildlife Wins podcast. I hope that if you've just stumbled upon us, that you'll watch another episode of the Wildlife Wins podcast. And thank you, Dana, for your time and for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.